again. It's a rich thing.
What's going on, everybody? It's the Bulls Show, aka Aidan, and welcome back to another video. Ladies and gentlemen, we've got a Chicago Bulls weekly episode to provide to you guys, where we look at the previous week for the Chicago Bulls, and of course, we look at the upcoming games for the Chicago Bulls, the final Bulls weekly of the regular season. The next time I make a Bulls weekly episode, we'll be talking about the NBA playoffs. What a sensational, road and journey for the Chicago Bulls. It's had its ups and it's definitely had its downs, but I'm really excited for this final stretch of games, and I'm really excited for the NBA playoffs. And if you guys feel that same, energy, don't forget to like and subscribe to the Bulls Show. Turn notifications on and let me know in the comments below, at the end of the regular season games, which one are you the most excited for, and also who do you think we will get in the NBA playoffs. Right now, it's looking like a team like Philly or Boston will be the ones that will be versing, but at the end of the day, time is still at the essence, and we don't truly know for sure. Things could go down to the last game. With that being said, let's look at the previous games for the Chicago Bulls. We had a total of 4 games this previous week, and we ended up going 2-2. Now, this is probably the most winnable stretch of games that we've had in quite some time as a Bulls team. So I'm fairly, disappointed that we went 2-2 this week. But all in all, beggars can't be choosers. If we go at a 2-2 rate next week as well, I truly 100% in my soul believe we will get there, ladies and gentlemen. We will get to the NBA playoffs, and we won't have to participate in the play-in tournament. And that's something that we're desperately trying to hang on for. For dear life, we do not want to be in that play-in tournament. So every win counts. Every win is a happy moment for the Chicago Bulls, and every loss just adds a little bit more pile on the stress factor for the Chicago Bulls. So we got to start off with the Knicks game, where we lost 109-104. The Chicago Bulls in the end with a disappointing game in its entirety. A very good first quarter that simply was not capitalized on throughout the whole game, as the Knicks fought back, continued to apply the pressure defensively on the Chicago Bulls, and both teams struggled in this game. But at the end of the day, the winners of the game was the New York Knicks, and that was a big blow for the Chicago Bulls, because I believe the Raptors and the Cavs both won their respective games on that day. But again, we had a back-to-back to look forward to in the next one against the Washington Wizards, where we won this game 107-94. In my opinion, this is a really good game for the Chicago Bulls, where we saw a little bit of a better team chemistry going around against Washington. Now, Washington didn't have their best team by far, and definitely there were a lot of guys that struggled in this game as well, like Zach LaVine, like DeMar DeRozan. He took 27 shots in this game with very bad efficiency. Vucevic was outstanding. Ayo and Alex Caruso, I don't believe, had great games in this one either. But then the bench stepped up massively, ladies and gentlemen, and that was very important as well to this team. It was a really good performance from the Chicago Bulls bench that helped us and progressed us into the win. You saw really good performances from Patrick Williams in this game as well. I really did like the Chicago Bulls today against the Wizards. But then we had an even better game, one of our most exciting games of our season, one of the craziest games of our season against the Los Angeles Clippers, where it went to overtime, ladies and gentlemen, but we won the game 135-130. Now, at the end of the day, Paul George didn't play in that overtime period, but we take what we're given in this league, and the Chicago Bulls picked up one of the most important wins of our season in an overtime desperation mode, and the Bulls did what they were supposed to do. DeMar DeRozan had 50 points in this game. Truly unbelievable performance from DeMar DeRozan, one of the best in his NBA career, one of the best this season, and this is coming from an MVP caliber player. Now, he won't win the MVP this season. I think we all know that by now, but don't forget, he is our MVP this year, ladies and gentlemen. He's done some incredible things, and this is right up there at the top of the pile for the Chicago Bulls. He's had a history-making season. This game just adds to that, in my opinion. And it was just a crazy comeback, a crazy game, crazy atmosphere. The United Center felt like a playoff atmosphere, and every single one of those fans that went there, I truly envy you guys. I'm really jealous. I wish I could have been there. And then obviously the last game against the Miami Heat, where we were very disappointing, but nothing new against the elite teams. We lost this game 127-109. Again, It's something that I expected going into the game. Obviously, I really hoped that our confidence would reign through, but history repeats itself again, ladies and gentlemen. And in saying that, it makes me hard to believe. It makes it harder for me to believe, I guess you could say, that we can go and beat the elite teams, because all season we've yet to really beat an elite team. Maybe you could consider Boston one of those teams, but at the time that we faced them, they were nowhere near the Boston Celtics that they are now. And obviously they have an injury coming up. They have an injury that just occurred in Robert Williams. So I'm not really sure what Boston are going to do about that and how they're going to respond as a team. But a really okay week for the Chicago Bulls. 2-2 is respectable, but considering the games that we had, the winnable opportunities that we had as well, I think we could have done just a little bit better, in my opinion. With that being said, we got 3 awards to give out to, ladies and gentlemen. The Must Improve of the Week, the Sixth Man of the Week, and the Player of the Week for the Chicago Bulls. And I think all of them are fairly easy to give, maybe outside of the Player of the Week, because I am going to do something that I haven't really done in a long time. But let's just start off firstly with the Must Improve. And I think this is a very straightforward answer here. It's going to be Coby White. Once again, this week he has continued to struggle, and mainly from the three-point line. There was a game, I believe it was against the Clippers, where he really did well in terms of attacking the basket, using the glass, stuff of that nature. He's also had some decent rebounding performances recently, not all the time, but definitely had some of them up there this week for the Chicago Bulls. But from the three-point line, he's continued to struggle, and from that three-point line, Coby White has just struggled in his entire game. This is one of the worst times to really see Coby White play like this. You want to see Coby White at the highest peak level you could possibly see out of him heading into the NBA playoffs, because you don't want that atmosphere to rattle him. You don't want that scenario in the NBA playoffs to kind of make him hesitant to shoot. He did say something in his post-game interview, basically saying that it's when he doesn't shoot is when he feels it's a bad thing. He wants to continue to shoot the basketball. And look, I can honestly really admire that confidence that he has in himself, and admire that he wants to keep shooting. And by all means, eventually those shots will fall in for Coby White. So I do want him to shoot. But when he doesn't make those impacts, it does affect the Chicago Bulls. And it does affect how much he misses on the court as well. So yes, it's a two-way street here. Coby White wants to continue playing at a confident level, and it doesn't really matter to him how many shots he misses, as long as he has the confidence to shoot the next one. But also, in saying that, the shots that he takes and not making is hurting the Chicago Bulls, especially because not every single night he could back it up on the defensive end. He's had a much improved defensive year in my eyes this season compared to last. But with that being said, Coby White is still not the strongest defender on our team, and I don't know if he'll ever get to that level. Time will only tell in that instance, but there is something to be concerned with. So we need to see the best out of Coby White going forward. That's what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping the playoffs will end up bringing the best out of him and not his worst. And we'll just have to wait and see about those situations. That's why the playoffs are so important, because you're going to see the best and the worst out of players. You're going to see, hopefully, the best out of Coby White, but you may very well see his worst. Same with Zach LaVine. If Lonzo returns, it might be a little bit of an asterisk on the side of him, because he probably will come back in the playoffs. It doesn't have any time to really get adjusted to it. And again, guys like Patrick Williams, you might see the best out of him, you might see the worst out of him. It goes along, even Ayo Dosunmu as well. There are a bunch of guys that don't have that playoff experience, and we're going to really truly see what they're made of in that type of situation. So for me, Coby White is the must improve. I think that's a very obvious one. My sixth man of the week is Patrick Williams. Now, I think Patrick Williams, for the most part, had a very strong week this week. The game against the Clippers, where he had a posterizer, made 2 threes, got into the lane for a dunk with a really nice cut on the baseline, and really made a strong impact on the boards. I think 3 out of the 4 games he had this week were really strong rebounding games. I thought he played very well against the Miami Heat as well. Of course, with Patrick Williams, there are still many things he has to learn. I still feel like his off-ball movement is not always perfect. Sometimes he's a bit of a passenger out there offensively. But with that being said, when he's taking his shots, he's making them count. And the efficiency level has been very good for Patrick Williams over the last 2 games specifically. So keep on shooting, Patrick Williams. That's all I have to say, because the talent is clearly there, and I truly think the potential is there. but just keep on shooting. Do not stop shooting. Always feel confident when you have the ball in your hands. Do not be a passenger out there. Do not be one of those guys. When I say there's a passenger out there for the Chicago Bulls, don't be that guy. Let somebody else be that guy, because you're too talented to be, I guess, one of those guys that just doesn't do anything on the court. He had a really strong game against the Miami Heat. Came into the game, 2 blocks straight away. Good rebounding game. Clippers was fantastic. Wizards, he was very good as well. I'm really, really happy with Patrick Williams as of late. And the player of the week, normally I would give this award to either Vucevic or Zach LaVine. But with that being said, Zach LaVine struggled against the Washington Wizards. Vucevic struggled against the Miami Heat. And DeMar DeRozan had a 50-point performance. Now, DeMar DeRozan has probably struggled more than anybody this week. But that performance alone has to be recognized as one of the best performances I've seen in a Chicago Bulls uniform. And the comeback was crazy. The emotion of it was sensational. I can't just sit there and not give an award to DeMar DeRozan for that. So, my player of the week is DeMar DeRozan. Again, that game alone really took it at the end for me. I had no regrets, no doubts in my mind from that game until obviously the Miami Heat game, whatever the case was. That game was definitely going to be the player of the week, DeMar DeRozan, for me. I always knew that was going to happen, and today I'm just making it official pretty much with the video. Extremely, extremely incredible performance. One of the best games I've seen from the Chicago Bulls. And I loved every second of it. And I have to thank DeMar DeRozan for that incredible performance, for giving us that joy and that happiness after a game like that. One of the best I've seen. But with that being said, we've got 4 games to look forward to in the next week. The final 4, ladies and gentlemen, games of our season. Get hyped, get ready for them, because they are going to be very important, very big, and hopefully we can see some winning games for the Chicago Bulls. So, 3 of those games are at home, which is a very positive sight as well. The first game is against the Milwaukee Bucks. Now, this is one of those elite teams where I personally don't see us walking in and walking away with a dominant victory. I'd like to see this game be close and competitive, because I want to see us compete with some of the elite. And we've competed with Milwaukee before. But if we do win, I'll be very happy. Of course I will be, because that's a very good team. You don't know what Milwaukee Bucks team will come out there either. A couple of guys have been in and out of the rotation at times. But at the end of the day, whichever Milwaukee Bucks team does come out will be a very dangerous team to look into the eyes of. So the Chicago Bulls have to play with full confidence. Again, they need to play with that self-belief, and guys off of the bench need to step up, as well as the starters play well. Everybody has to play well against a team like the Milwaukee Bucks. Otherwise, we simply won't win a game like that. You've got to have everybody on the highest level they could possibly be. And that's how we get close, but most importantly, that gives us a chance to win. And every time we're in a close game, there's always a chance for the Bulls to win. Then we've got a back-to-back situation, with the next game being against the Boston Celtics. Again, Boston, Robert Williams injury, that has definitely affected them. They've been struggling since that injury. That whole defensive scheme has changed pretty much in my eyes because of what Boston are going through at the moment. And not to mention their biggest lob threat, which has been a key killer to the Chicago Bulls, and especially Nikola Vucevic, is gone for them. So you're not going to see too many lobs out of the Boston Celtics against us, which is a huge added bonus for the Bulls. Obviously, both games that we've played have been very, very tight games. We came back, I believe, from a 28-point performance the first time around, and obviously we ended up having a massive surge towards the end of that game, the second game against Boston, but they edged out the win there as well. So the third battle between Boston and the Bulls, I think this is going to be a very good matchup if we verse them in the playoffs, and I think many of the Bulls fans will be hoping to get them in the NBA playoffs, because with them, I think we both match up well with each other. I think this has potential to be a very close and competitive series. So I would love to verse Boston, to be honest. Again, I have friends that play or that don't play. I have friends that go for Boston. So again, just for the sake of being able to watch it with them as well, it'd be a really good series in my eyes. So I'm really hoping we can get Boston, but I'd be happy with anybody, to be honest. I just want to be in the NBA playoffs. The next game is against the Charlotte Hornets. Now, this won't be a LaMelo Ball or Lonzo Ball reunion like we saw the first time around. We have seen what we can do to the Charlotte Hornets before, and I'm hoping we could do the same thing again and walk away from that game sweeping the season series against them. That will be very crucial. Then the last game is another back-to-back situation where we travel to Minnesota. We're going to be traveling out west in the last game of the season off of a back-to-back. all signs are very worrying because I think Minnesota are a great offensive team and they could definitely do some damage to the Chicago Bulls. We did beat them the first time around, so I have full confidence that we could do it again, but nothing is guaranteed in this league. And again, it's the second night of a back-to-back and we're going to be traveling. So very difficult to do, but also not impossible either. And that might end up being that crucial final decision-making factor as to whether we climb in the Eastern Conference or we're in a play-in spot in the Eastern Conference, depending on how the other games go. That's it for the Bulls Weekly, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all for watching. Please like and subscribe if you're new. I'm in a very good mood today, ladies and gentlemen. And if you're a wrestling fan, you'll probably know why. But I'm not going to get into much of that. I'm sure if you're a wrestling fan, you know exactly what went down today. And it put a smile on my face. And I think you can tell by the way I approached this video. So let's just hope we can see more positivity in the sports world and the Bulls world with a game against Milwaukee. That's the first one up. Let's hope we can win it. Have a wonderful and safe day. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay tuned for more. Take care and peace.